preparing the document, even in PPTs and preparing the thesis. It's outstanding. So it helped me a lot in developing myself by taking their guidance. So I'm very happy to have you here. So I hope you will bestow some sort of light and knowledge to the students to think in the direction of innovative projects and turning themselves as an entrepreneur in this competitive world. Instead of seeking for a job, I think it is better to establish some sort of a company, and so that some of the students which are present in this meeting can start some companies and work as a manager and provide some sort of jobs for other people. So we have to maintain the diversity in that way. So keeping in that point in my mind, I requested Ms. Disha ma'am to find some able persons, and I'm very fortunate to have a ready processor here. Sir, I don't want to waste my time here, so please take over the session, and I hope this will be a best session for the students to carry out their project works and research works. Thank you very much, ma'am. Can you please hand over to ready processor?
Thank you, Joshi sir. Ready Prasad sir, you can take up the session now.
Thank you for a wonderful introduction about me, Professor Jisha ma'am and Professor Joshi Manohar, HOD of W department. So, yeah, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Reddy Prasad Reddyvari. I am from NITK Surathkal. Today, I am here to present some project ideas in electrical engineering to do some projects in your final year or third year projects. So, my presentation today, this is my outline of today's presentation. Here, I will be dividing into three parts. Initially, I will introduce you what is electrical engineering and what electrical engineers can do. And the second part of my presentation, I will be discussing about what are the possible career opportunities with electrical engineering. And finally, I will be discussing about some project ideas. So in the whole presentation, I am not getting to any numerical equations or numbers, because today's presentation, they have given time only 1 hour for me. So I will be mostly talking about application aspect. In the way, I will try to make this presentation as effective as possible. So,
Reddy sir, can
first
you
of all,
please
electrical and electronic engineering, it covers with a wide variety of subjects in electrical major as well as electronic major. In that, electrical engineering deals with power generation over 375 gigawatt and power transmission and distribution over 4.2 circuit kilometers. Whereas electronic engineering deals with circuits made up of components that control the flow of electrons for effective power utilization and technology development. So I can say that electrical engineering is bridging the gap between disciplines in the 21st century. Here I am posing a big statement. If I couldn't able to show some proofs, then it is something like simple flash statement. Let me show some proofs to how it is bridging the gap among the disciplines, how electrical engineering is bridging the gap among the disciplines. So let me go for application aspect. So this is the wind power plant. Whenever you are generating a wind means the electrical engineering is collaborated with mechanical engineering and generating a sustainable energy by using wind flow. At the same time, if there is a PV, photovoltaic power generation means the electrical engineer are collaborated with material science engineers, because these are semiconductor devices. So we have to collaborate with material science engineer, and we are developing a affordable about clean power generation source as a solar power generation. If suppose there is a mobile or web application, we need to collaborate with the CS and math peoples. Why CS? In the sense for visualization and all those things, we need to collaborate with CS. And for web, the data processing and data handling, these are all related to mathematics, probability or probability load flow, such a kind of thing. So we need to collaborate with CS and math, and we are developing applications called mobile or web applications. So when it will talk about some medical related equipments, then we will be collaborating with bioengineering and medicine engineering. So here what we are doing in the sense, we will be doing some advances in biosensors. That means we need to sense first, then we need to do our processing and we need to take a decision. For that, biosensors and prosthetics. Prosthetics in the sense, if there is a artificial device that can be replaced with human, any one of the apartments, that is called prosthetics, and imaging. So these days, I can say that every human part can be replaced with artificial alternative. Maybe air, eye, voice, heart, kidney, brain. Brain is in progressing. It is not yet done up to now. So it is keep on progressing in the US and UK. Collaborating projects has been going on in this way. So these are the voice. It is already artificially replaced. Air can be replaced, and the eye can be replaced. Heart can be replaced. Kidney can be replaced. Hand by leg can be replaced. So for the technology, these are the lines can be best suitable. For the people without disabilities, technology makes things easier. For the people with disabilities, technology makes things possible. So coming to the career opportunities with EEE. So either after undergraduation from EEE, you have an option, either you can go for job or you can go for higher studies. If you are looking for job or seeking for job, there may be a two alternate in government sector. There may be a two alternatives: one state level jobs or central level jobs. In state level, every state having their own generation and transmission distribution plans. So there you can get into the state level jobs. In addition to that, there is a steel plants or research centers in the state. So you can get into those jobs also through the some competitive exams, entrance exams. If it comes to the central, it is common for all the states. There might be a exam called GATE or some other UPSC exams for the common entrance for all these things. Here again, there is a power sectors or steel plants and research centers, everything will be there. So along in addition to this, there is a private sector. Private sector is mainly working on developing the technologies, and they will be generating the power not in the high amount of penetration. It will be medium scale, and they will be dealing the automotive equipments for the companies. So you can get into the private sector also. If you are looking for higher studies, then you need to have a entrance exam called GATE or GRE by TOEFL or CAT or CSIR. If you enter into the GATE, means you can go for MTech or MS in IITs by NITs. If you have a GRE or TOEFL, you can study in abroad. Or if you get in through CAT, means you can do a MBA after engineering. So if CSIR means junior research fellow or senior research fellow jobs are available through CSIR. So other than jobs, so if you want to start a startup, then the biggest question comes to your mind is how to manage funding for your startup, or how to get the financing for your startup. Yeah, there are many schemes available in India to encourage Indian startups. So main five are displayed here. Maybe for micro scale, it is about 10 lakhs they will be providing from the Indian. If suppose it is a small scale industry, then up to 1 crore you can able to get it from the Indian banks with the less interest. Then along with that, some are 3 schemes also available. These are all available in the Startup India website. You can go through it. So you want to start your startup, what you need to do in the sense, you have to put an application, online application with self-certification and minimum documents. So that means startup registration is the first step. Once you register a startup, within 2 weeks, the nodal agency, the one panel members will be there. They will be evaluating your startup and idea. What idea basis you are starting your startup. So based on that idea, it can be able to, like, this idea can be implementable or it can be useful for the society of India. Means they can be seeking some positive response for that. If after that, those nodal peoples can be visited your company, like whether it is a small scale company or micro scale company, by physically they will visit your company, then finally they will approve it. Once it is approved, then there are many schemes are available to reduce the tax, or somebody is financing your company, then tax reduction scheme should be provided for those people. For that, there are many applications you need to apply later. If suppose you are not getting to the startups, you want to go for a job or you want to work for a company. In that case, you need to showcase your skills and exhibits in front of panel members or recruiters of the company. So for that, in this process, first and foremost thing is your resume preparation. So your resume should have these sections. It should start with say about self and contact details, then career objectives, education, followed by awards and honors, key skills, projects, experience, languages, interest, and references. So in this all parts, the major thing they can be seeing you is key skills and project experience. Maybe project experience lead you to learn some skills. That means maybe programming skills or whatever maybe. It is interdependent with project, what kind of project you are choosing. So I can say based on your project, where you are going to lie into, like what kind of company you are going to settle, can be decided by your project itself. So that is the important of your engineering. Only education is only about if for shortlisting the candidates based on the maybe you are having your education 70% aggregate or 60% aggregate. They will be shortlisting based on that. Once you are shortlisted for interview, the interview is all about your project and skills only. So in this way, maybe these jobs are divided into three sections. Either the jobs are based on project management skill, or engineering design, or programming skills. Project management skills can earn more than these two. However, this project management skill comes with experience. That means it is a seniority level job. As a fresher, you cannot get into project management skill based job. So you are always welcome to join as a engineering design related jobs or programming based relatable jobs. So in this case, what kind of programs you should know before getting into any company. So generally, the company peoples will be asking you about what kind of coding, basic coding you are having. Maybe C, C++, embedded C. These all things I have kept here in the aspect of electrical engineering. So we don't want any Java or Oracle, all those things. As a electrical engineering, you should know basic C, C++, embedded C. If you want to go for some advanced coding, then you may look into Python or VHDL by Verilog. Course certification. There are many online course certifications are available in these days. So for industry, you need to have a battery management systems. Battery management means it is like a ocean. This is a different subject. Battery modeling, SOC estimation, so many things are there. Cell balancing and all. So you can have a course certificate in any of the related things in the battery management system. Means it will be helpful for the companies who are working in electrical vehicle related. So you can get into those companies. If suppose you are working with machine learning related course certifications is there, means you can get into so many related companies. Even electrical vehicle also want automation, or these days smart power grids are going on, and some other automation related projects are going on. So there you can get into. For this, mathematics is important. Machine learning starts with mathematics, then simple coding with Python and all. Then embedded systems. Another alternative is embedded systems. IoT related projects you want to work means, then you need to have a knowledge on embedded systems. So then FPGA controller. If you want to go for like research centers where they will be generating new kind of controller and they will be verifying, means that places FPGA can help better. Then generally electrical means either you will be working on power system or power electronics. Maybe control is involved in the both power systems as well as power electronics. So I have divided into power system research and power electronics research. If you want to work on power system, What are the theoretical knowledge you need to have in the sense? Load flow studies, short circuit or fault analysis, protecting circuit and coordination related analysis you should know, and transient or dynamic stability analysis, harmonic or power quality related analysis, and optimal power flow. It is called optimal load dispatch. So these are the theoretical knowledge you should know before getting to the power system research. And possible tools to verify your models are MATLAB, Simulink, PSpice, ETAP, AutoCAD. So many softwares are there. This blue color one are popularly used nowadays. If at the same time, if you are entering into the power electronic research, then the Simulink tools are MATLAB, Simulink, PSim, ARCAD, Saber RD, PSCAD, Flex. These blue color one are popularly using these days. So you should know any one or multiple of these tools whenever you want to apply for a company where you want to pursue your research or you want to work on the company related to power electronics. You should know these simulation tools. That's what I am talking about here. Then hardware controllers. Power electronics is not about all simulation. You need to implement the application in hardware domain also. For that, you need to have a one controller. For that, Arduino will be there. It is a one kind of controller. Raspberry Pi microcontrollers. It might be 8051 or ARM Cortex microcontrollers or DSP, digital signal processing device, or FPGA. And hardware in loops. These are new kind of structures. It is available in like industries purchasing these devices. This will be a kind of simulation only. It will reflect how our model or power electronic converter can be applicable or can be can be work for the particular application in the hardware domain. If it is fails in a hardware domain, it will able to identify in the hardware in loop itself. So there are Opal RT, Typhoon Hill, DSP, SpeedGoat. There are many softwares are available to do the hardware in loop based algorithms. Then along with this, one should know the PCB board design, because you want to develop one power electronic converter. You cannot solder all the devices with your own. You need to have particular PCB. So for that, there are softwares: Altium Design, Autodesk Eagle, KiCad, EDA, and so many things. You need to have you need to know at least one of the software to design a PCB. This skill also nowadays people are asking. So hardware in loops. Why hardware in loop? In the sense, if suppose you are designing one converter, if you are like you are the industry person, means let us take one mobile version, maybe Samsung M30. If you are releasing that mobile, means you need to go for mass production. Maybe you tested the mobile all applications in the lab environment. Might be it is working better in lab environment. In outside conditions, it may not be work better. There may be a problems. But you are generating mass production, and then you are selling into the maybe world peoples. So many people are purchased that, then there is a flaw. One of the error is getting into the picture. Then what to do? By taking the feedback, we need to redesign the mobile, and we can generating the another version of mobile, M31 kind of thing. So in this process, first customer satisfaction, it will be lost because some errors will be there, and it is already mass producted. So you have lost your money and time again for redesign. All those things is going to happen. If you have a hardware in loop, you can check these all possible errors in hardware in loop itself. Then the final model can be mass producted and put into the market. It will reduce the cost of mass production and also reduce the time. So that is called hardware in loop. Now coming to the project ideas. So I'm not getting to the any formulas or equations in these coming ideas. I just pose you the situations related to application aspect. As we are electrical engineer, we know that somewhere power generation is going to happen, and it will be transmitted and distributed to the load centers. Maybe as a Indian people, the power generation comes 70% or 60 to 70%. Our major amount of power generation comes from thermal power plants. It may not be located near to the load centers. So what we need to do, we need to transmit the power and distribute into the local, maybe residential or load centers. Here, the distribution has been divided into two categories: primary distribution and secondary distribution. Primary distribution is basically involves with high voltage distribution. Maybe industry peoples, they want the power at a high voltage rating, maybe 11 kV or 4.5 kV in that way. So secondary distribution is the one targeting for residential applications, like 415 volts they will be using, or 230 volts single phase they will be using. So in that, as I told that the power is comes from somewhere to somewhere. In this condition, maximum in India, we are using thermal coal power plants. Up to 70% energy comes from coal only. But now the condition is coal, oil, and gas are fossil fuels. It is depleting day by day. On the other hand, these are generating global warming. This global warming affecting the human lives. What we need to do, either we need to stop the burning of fossil fuels. That means I need to stop my thermal power plant completely. It is not possible. Another alternative is we need to reduce the consumption somehow. What way we can able to reduce? We need to have a alternative power generation, or we need to utilize the energy, generated energy effectively or high efficiently. So this is called energy conservation. Either you generate the you increase the generating efficiency, or seek for alternative options of power generation, or increase the transmission efficiency and increase the utilization efficiency. By the way, I told thermal power plant share is 70% in India. Let us take the simple black diagram of thermal power plant. In this thermal power plant, the generation efficiency of thermal power plant is not just like 70% or 80%. It is just 29% without MHD. MHD in the sense magneto hydrodynamic related power generation, where the fog, like once it is burning coal, we are burning means there is a fog coming out from the like gas kind of thing. There are ionized gases articles. Those articles have been used to re-energize and develop the power from that. So that scheme is called MHD. Without MHD, the thermal power plant efficiency is just 29%. If you incorporate MHD, then it is 35%. Now my question is, here already the efficiency is reduced to 29%. If you take 100 British thermal units of input to the thermal boiler, then you will be able to get the 16.66 BTU, British thermal units of output. That means if you save a 1 unit here, instead of 16.666, if you reduce 1 unit, 15.666, this is your required output, means you can able to reduce 6 units of input. That means in load center, if you can save 1 unit of energy, that is equivalent to 6 units of energy saving in the generation side, like the input side, where coal you are feeding to the thermal power plant. So that means 6 units amount of coal, you can save it at front end side. So that's what I am talking about, why energy efficiency is very important. In the sense, this is the matter. So for that, power electronics are we are using in these days to increase the generating efficiency, transmitting efficiency, and utilize the electricity very effectively. Now let us talk about transmission losses. As we said, this China, Japan, United States are having low transmission losses. However, India having high transmission losses. The reason is, as a Indian, we are not using the well-maintained equipments for the transmission and distribution. At the same time, in the load centers, we are not taking care about power factor or some kind of loads. So here, this is the reason. In the US, China, all the places, they were using the power electronic related devices for every alternative. So their transmission efficiency will be it will be good compared to us. So how to reduce this transmission losses? transmission losses can be reduced by going with the HVDC lines, high voltage DC transmission lines. You might be seeing one of the HVDC line near to Kolar. It will transmit the energy from the Odisha to Kolar, like Odisha to Karnataka, about 1450 kilometers. It will be transmitting 2000 megawatt power. So other alternative is instead of transmitting from the long distances, if I have a alternative in the nearby load centers, means I can reduce the transmission losses. So that can be possible by installing the solar or wind power plants nearby load centers. But the problem is, yeah, of course, the problem is solved. I can reduce the transmission losses by keeping solar power plant, or solar might be installed in the rooftop of homes also, residential homes. Yeah, problem is solved. But this will make you another kind of, it will like affect the transmission lines in the kind of way of other problem. So how it will be in the sense, before going to that, I'm just posing one picture here, how the renewable energy share in Indian power sector. These are the way of like renewables have been shared in Indian power sector. So the problem with the solar power plants, otherwise wind power plants, these power plants are not with the high scale. Maybe thermal power plant share is 70%, means this share is about 10% only. And these renewable energy generations are depending on nature, like the weather conditions. Solar means it will be depending on solar irradiation and temperature. Wind means it will be depends on wind flow. It may not be constant. Maybe it will be there today, or afternoon suddenly it will be no wind also, or afternoon due to rainy season there is no solar irradiation. Such a conditions, it will trip off or turn off sudden moment itself. If we will trip off suddenly, what will happen? Maybe these are small scale industries that can be stabilized, that can be stable, even it will be turn off. But whenever this effect on thermal power plant will be like this. So thermal power plant is having high inertia. You cannot make it sudden jumps this side or that side. If you do that, it will lose the stability. Then complete power system will collapse. The effects will be shown here. Like yeah, once it is grid fails means you can see complete blackout. Maybe 2012 it has happened in India. 22 states are doesn't have any power at all. So this is the stability issues. Another problem with the renewables, I'm going to say here. So somewhere I generated a power, I transmitted to the industries here. This is the power power triangle. Like this will be says about how much real power and reactive power you are transmitting from the long distance. Now I have a solar power plant. It will inject the active power to the grid. So what will happen? The active power part sharing will be reduced as seen from the thermal power plant. If suppose I am seeing from the thermal power plant aspect, I can generate less amount of real power because there is another source of real power. But what will happen? Previously, I need to support this much reactive power, the dotted lines. Now, the new reactive power is higher than the dotted lines. That means this much reactive power I need to support. The reactive power, for the support of reactive power, we don't get any instance use. That means we don't get any power money for the reactive power support. Only will get the money for the real power support. Now, because of somebody else injecting the their power, the state sectors are losing their opportunities. Because of that reason, nowadays they were making a stringent rules. If you want to feed the active power about 70%, you need to support reactive power 30%, maybe some other time. So that way they were making the strict rules for the power sectors, private power sector, who is going to feed the energy to the load centers. And reactive power, why reactive power is very important in the sense, I am not talking about much detail, just I'm posing one block diagram. If you doesn't have a proper like a supportive reactive power, then the generation energy cannot be fed into the load. It will be unstable. If you have a proper reactive support, then the energy flow will be like very free and safe. Now coming to the smart grids. These days, smart grids are going to like boon in the future generation. What is mean by smart grid? Smart grid is nothing but we need to collect all the data, like voltage data, power data, current data from the various places, and analyze the data, take a decision. Like if suppose my generation is very low, turn off some of the loads. Which loads are not critically important? Turn off them. In that way, I need to take a decision. In this process, if somebody hacked my website, then everything is gone. Instead of critical loads, they will be turning off critical loads, means everything will collapse. So I need to have a data security also. So this is called smart grids all about. In this way, I can say that smart grid means there is a powerful processor is required. In nowadays, the powerful processor is from Japan 2011. One powerful processor is there. It is taking 12,000 kilowatt power and weight is 4,53,592 kgs. And equivalent to this, we have a human brain. It is taking just 23.3 watts and weight is 1.2 kg. Do you know the speed of this powerful processor? It will take 40 minutes to do the operation what brain can do in 1 second. That means it is not up to the mark like a human brain. See the figures here. This is 23.3 watts only it is taking. This is taking much more power. That means our technology is need to improve little more. That's where CMOS technology comes into the picture. Nowadays, the people are using i7 or i11 processor with the lower and lower voltage levels. So that way technology is going on like in an increment way. Another way of doing is, I told there are electrical vehicles in nowadays, even Japan or China, they were already incorporated electrical vehicles into the market, and maybe rooftop solar plants will be there, wind plants will be there. So many things are there. Now the point is peer-to-peer energy trading is all says about. Generally nowadays we are not deciding where I need to take power, because the local power sector, they will be having lines, they will be giving the power and we are feeding we are taking that power and we are giving the money for them. So in future it is not like this. You can decide which power you need to take it, like either you need to go for solar or wind or something else. If suppose it is in summer season, solar power may be cost less. So on in the solar also, which company you need to like from which company you need to take a power, that also can be possible in future. That is called peer-to-peer energy trading. It involves you about like power system research, power electronics for like where to where I need to connect. For that, power electronic converters are required and web design is required. Maybe data processing and data security is required. This all people are keep on working on this area. And it is almost piloted projects are going on in Japan and China in currently. India, people are looking for this. They are not started up to now. So in these places, what we are doing in the sense, maybe in the afternoon, no one want solar power. Maybe I am having a solar power in the afternoon. Very high amount of solar power is available with us, but no one is required in the afternoon, because afternoon so many industrial loads are not working much heavily. So when they required, in the sense they required in the evening time. So what we need to do in the sense, if we have a energy storage device like a battery, you save it in the afternoon, because the afternoon no one want power, so they will be ask you to feed the power for 2 rupees also. Evening they will pay you 6 rupees or 7 rupees also. So what we need to do in the sense, we need to save the energy in the afternoon and we need to feed it in the evening. This way, instead of battery, you can say it is a electrical vehicle, and you have a rooftop power plant. Then you work a coordinated project to save when the power demand is very less, and when the power demand is very high, you feed it to the market. That way research is going on. And another alternative is home automation or agriculture automation. These all those things is going on. So for these things, IoT related projects, you need to have a controller. Basically the main controllers in nowadays are Arduino or Raspberry Pi. Arduino is simply a controller, but Raspberry Pi is the mini computer. So Arduino, so many variants are available. Raspberry Pi also variants are available. So you want to work with a simple open loop project. You don't have any closed loop or any internet facility. You don't want to access it, or you need to feed the data. Means you can go with the Arduino. If you have a data transmitting and data receiving, all those things, you need to go for Raspberry Pi. Arduino cost around 600 rupees. Raspberry Pi variants are available from 3000 to 6000. You can work on it. So other way is energy efficient motors and energy efficient lights. So energy efficient motor, in the sense, in olden days, we are using a throttling valve to control the flow of water or anything else. If you use a throttling valve, the energy is constant, even if you are open the valve or close the valve. That means you are wasting your energy irrespective of your requirement. If you use a variable speed drive, you can reduce the input itself. Whenever you want less output, you can reduce the input itself. Another way of doing is lighting. Maybe big amount of share will be there in aspect of lighting. So there are energy efficient lights. The 10 watt LED bulb equivalent to 100 watt incandescent bulb. That way we can save the energy in the LEDs also, lighting also. Another way of research is electrical vehicle. As I told previously, electrical vehicle is a ocean. Their modeling will be there, and mechanical dynamics will be there, electrical dynamics, everything you need to model it and you need to work on it. Thank you. This session is now open for questions.
Thank you, Reddy Prasad. Students, if you have any question, you can raise your hand. We will unmute you and you can interact.